Welcome to JMR Talks. Today we will discuss about leadership in the new normal. Leadership, as we all know, is a highly fascinating subject. There were times, when we discussed about autocratic leadership, laissez-faire leadership, democratic leadership. Then we also talked about transactional leadership, transformation leadership, and recently, while looking at the leadership of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, people started talking about servant leadership. But now, given the fact that we all have gone through the what called COVID, horrid times, people started talking about what called healthy leadership or healthy leaders as such. Now, who are these healthy leaders? They are the ones who understand the importance and also ensure the mental and emotional well-being of the people. Right. Now, how the what call situation calls for an effective leadership in a situation like this. We are already in a VUCA world, highly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So, the organizations need to continuously innovate, be agile, resilient, and all that. Now, this is the time which calls for what I call effective leadership as such. The leaders need to what I call change themselves, evolve in conformity with the changing requirements. They should model the behaviors which they want employees to what I call to demonstrate. In fact, they should instill, inspire, and reinforce the organizational culture. On the one hand, they need to what I call ensure that the productivity of the organization is maintained, and at the same time, they need to ensure that employees' mental and emotional well-being is taken care of. When you take care of mental and emotional well-being, they become loyal, they become committed, and they give their what best. Now, how the change scenario what looks like, which calls for what effective leadership as such. Number one. Now, this is the time to what redefine. Now, who's the leader? What sort of leader what he or she is about? The existing capabilities may not what help much. The current scenario calls for an updated and expanded toolkit of what capabilities. There was a time when we spoke about empathy, but today empathy has become an obsolete word. Today people are talking about what compassion. Now that we have moved from what offline to online, that is what people are working from remote. There are no personal what interactions. Though organizations took enough steps to have what video conferences, online communications, but we all agree that these technical tools will not what fully bridge the gap. We as human beings crave for what human touch and what care. The leaders need to what ensure that the time sense prevails, organizational culture is what sustained, and most importantly, they need to what align the values of the organization with the values of what personal. That means they need to ensure that employees what demonstrate those behaviors which are in consonance with the requirement of the organization. Now, this is the time for them to trust in outcomes. This is the time for them to what trust people's self-motivation to perform. Now, this is the time for redrawing the boundaries, because there is a very thin line between the personal life and the official life. Maybe it's time to move from work-life balance to work-life integration. So probably one thing what the leaders could do is have some no meeting days, so that people could focus completely on the project work. Now, given the change scenario, what sort of qualities are required in leaders? Number one, honesty, empathy, trust, and flexibility. These are the keystones of what I call the leadership required in the current situation. On the one hand, they need to ensure the team productivity. At the same time, they also need to what I call ensure employees' mental and emotional well-being. Not only that, they need to amplify the passion and the purpose for which the organization is what was striving for. Once we are able to what I call, provide a compelling what I call vision and ensure mental and what I call emotional well-being, people definitely start looking at them as if they are part of the big picture and give their best as such. It's a time to what I call improve their soft skills, improve the soft skills of the what I call people, emotional intelligence, and most importantly, they need to lead from the front. That means they are setting up an example for the people to follow. Now, as we all know, in the organization, while the leaders what will set the direction, it is the managers who what will get the things done. Now, these are the people who are close to what we call the employees. So, they must be what we call clear how to what we call extract the work, how best what we call enable them, empower them, energize them, so that they continue to what we call give the best. It is easier said than done. As it is hard to do such things in the normal times. But in a dispersed workplace environment, it may be a bit more hard. So the more question arises as to, have we equipped the managers with the requisite what we call soft skills? One soft skills that need to be what we call emphasized, that need to be focused in the current environment is what we call improving. Improving the way they perceive, the way they analyze, the way they provide solutions to customers' problems. Now here comes the role of what we call HR department. They need to what we call arrange training, not only leaders, the middle management, but most importantly supervisors, because they are the ones who are in constant touch with the employees, and they are the one who are interacting with the people in accomplishing the organizational talks. So when they have direct reports, the manager should become a role model. Not only they should support their associates' efforts, but they should set an example for the people to follow. Need for self-care, yes. They not only need to take care of themselves, but also they need to take care of the organization as well as employee health. Some leaders might be under the impression that if we display vulnerability, they might become weak in the perception of the people. There is no such thing as such. It's okay not to have all the answers to to the problems. When you as a leader display vulnerability, it starts building up an excellent culture where people they are not don't have any fear kind of thing. Okay, no, I don't have all the answers as such. They are free to freely communicate with their peers and all that. Tries to find out what is best. So maintaining the energy level, displaying the energy level is very, very important, because these are the people who set an example for the people to follow. And most importantly, given the situation wherein we moved from fixed mindset to growth mindset, and now we have to shift from growth mindset to fluid mindset, where the emphasis has to be on flexibility and improving. The leaders need to focus on continuous development. Today, the work life and the personal life, they continue to be blended. So leadership roles also need to evolve with the changing times. Maybe it's time they need to broaden their skill set as such. In the next video, we'll discuss about how to redefine the leader's role and what are that leaders need to do in the change scenario. Thank you.